is a difference between you and me. We both looked into the abyss. But when it looked back at us, you blinked.
Trevor here, and this is a DC Legends video. In this video, okay, I'm being a little complicated. I wanted to do my top 5 favorite leads, and then it was also kind of like a top 5 best. And so part of the leads that I love so much, they're not useful in the game anymore, just given the meta and where things stand. And I think that's going to change with Nightmare Campaign, and I'll get into that after we get into the list. But so I kind of did a mix. Like, I like these leads a lot. I kind of changed the list a little bit to make it a little bit more useful. And I'll tell you if the leads aren't really useful in whatever you're doing. But it's just like a top 5, my favorite leads, albeit I did leave one of the best off. Like one of the best leads, which is, I'll just give him a shout out right now. It's Green Lantern Hal Jordan. He's one of the best leads in the game. Top 3 easily. So yeah, because he's just consistent, but he's boring. I don't like playing with him, so he's not on this list. But honorable mention, if you're checking out leads and you want to know what leads to go with, if you're early to mid game, go ahead and get Green Lantern Hal Jordan frags, as many of them as you can. You're gonna use them a lot. You may not like him, you may love him, but you're going to use him a lot. He's consistent, he's solid, he's tanky, debuff immunity, a hard counter to Harley Quinn, which you're going to run into a lot, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, so that is just that honorable mention, just to get that out of the way. Now, the first one I'm going to mention is basically useless in the meta right now. Maybe for PvE content, and I think it's going to make a comeback starting with Nightmare Campaign, because if you're in game and I'm in game 70-11, most of my teams are 70-11, then you're focused more on PvP. But with Nightmare Campaign, there's more PvE content that makes other tunes that you weren't using at that level useful, perhaps. We actually have a Riddle Me This coming out this Friday where we discuss that. So I think he may come back. I think these debuffs may come back. He was garbage before, and so let me go ahead and start pulling him up. He was garbage before, and they had a rework for him about a while ago. And he became so much fun. Number 5 on my list is Ra's al Ghul. He's not useful in the current meta, especially since the main ability that I like about him, and I'm going to go through like just the main abilities of the kit, really, so I don't keep you guys here for 45 minutes. Team lead: when an ally deals damage, 75% chance to use Demon Slash on the target. The silence part doesn't matter. Now, Demon Slash. Demon Slash is damage to an enemy, apply 2 disease to the target, apply 2 additional disease if target is silenced. Now I think about it, seeing as how I love Deathstroke so much now, this might be awesome with Deathstroke. This is going to be fun with Deathstroke. I'm about to do that now. Oh my goodness, I just realized that. That's going to be so much fun. In Nightmare Campaign, all Deathstroke does is lay down silence. Oh, I'm about to have a good time. Anyway, and also it's A3. I think it's A3 also applies silence, but not even in regards to that. The reason why I like him so much is because I love the disease debuff. When it first came out, I thought it was incredible. It first came out with Man-Bat, and I just thought it was the best thing ever. And it's not really useful in PvP because the battles don't last that long. Now, if you're doing PvE content and you have longer battles and you're fighting waves that are going to take a bit longer, then disease is a more useful debuff there. I like, and bleeds. Bleeds is another debuff that I really like, which a little bit more useful, but anyway. And I think they have their use, but you have a whole lot of tunes running around with debuff immunity and stuff like that, and so it's just hard to get him really in the mix. I'm justifying a lot of things right now, so. All right, I had to make a quick cut because technical issues. I have so many technical issues. I just noticed I had a bunch of stuff written on my hand. Anyway, so I'm giving a lot of justifications for Ra's because I like playing with him. I think he's fun, but is he useful? No. Should you invest in him? No. I mean, not unless you want to. It's just fun. He's a fun lead, but in the current meta, he's not really useful. I'm gonna check in PvE and Nightmare Campaign, see if he actually has some value there. I'm really excited to try him out with Deathstroke now. That should be fun, but no. But he makes my top 5 list because he's one of my favorites. Now, next on my top 5 list, he's also a favorite He's not as useful as he used to be, but when he had his time and he was incredible. And that is Red Hood. Red Hood is incredible mostly because for like there was a time where bleeds was a thing and Black Manta came in and Black Manta was awesome. I still think he's a really good tune. There's no real space for him. I guess that means he's not good then, doesn't it? There's no real space for him in the game anymore. And Black Hood was part of the reason he got pushed out because Black Hood was better at giving bleeds than Black Manta was. Red Hood was better at giving bleeds than Black Manta was, and had more utility. And the thing that made him great was that even at lead, well, first of all, he would strip buffs or steal them outright. Damage to an enemy, steal 2 buffs, max 10 for each bleed on the target. He was giving a whole bunch of bleeds on his A1, and then the explosive gunplay. It was okay. He gained the invisibility, which was nice, and it did solid damage. It wasn't great, but the thing that really made him incredible was Team Leader. When an ally dies, apply buff immunity and turn meter down 50% on all enemies. Now it says 50%, but I always felt like it was resetting it completely ever since they made that change. I'm not telling them. Also steals 2 buffs from each enemy. Also steals 2 buffs from each enemy to random allies. I didn't even notice that one. But the thing is like this was Black Flash before Black Flash. So you would put him in lead, and then as soon as you killed one person, they would put a buff immunity up, which a lot of times you don't expect it to be useful, but there are a lot of tunes that give buffs when they die or get buffs when a teammate dies, and so that would block it. And then on top of it, you were reducing all their turn meter down. So then you got to have your 4 tunes go again and again and again. It was the Black Flash effect that you have now, except Black Flash is off lead, and his is a bit better in terms of a lot better, but he was absolutely incredible. In fact, I still use him every once in a while. There is a place for him to use him from time to time. There just isn't a... You bring him because you want to, not because there isn't a better option out there. There are better options than him at lead. So that's why you don't really bring him, but he's still usable, he's still serviceable. I love him. That's why he's on this list. But in terms of leads that you want to invest in, again, there are others that aren't even on this list that are better than he is. But I like him. I love him. What can I say? Now, next up on the list is someone who, if you just gave her a small power creep, like I think she's incredible in the mid game. If you gave her like a small power boost, she'd be awesome. And that's Wonder Woman POT. Now, she was a nightmare in the mid game whenever I would face her. I don't know if she's still the same way. You guys let me know if you're early to mid game right now and you face Wonder Woman POT. She's farmable on the last node of level 3, of chapter 3. And I still farm her. I still farm all her frags every day. I go to that node and I make sure to get her frags. And I have her, I could even take her RB2 if I wanted to. Anyway, so I absolutely love her because she does purge buffs on her A2. She does do heavy damage on her A3. That damage still works nowadays. If I want to use her in a team comp in 7011, I can. There are better options out there, but she's not a bad one. She's still very, very viable in PvP. Is she Green Lantern Hal Jordan viable? No, but she's still in-game viable. All right, you can still use her. Not like Roz. Okay, put it that way. She's far superior to that. So the thing that really, really, really would drive me crazy before I actually had her was at team lead. At the end of turn, use Fury of Zeus if no allies have a debuff, which means that she would smack with that A3 twice in a row if there were no allies who had a debuff. Then you would have Power of Truth if all allies have a debuff. That means that she's going to purge 9 debuffs. And actually, I should ring that out. Well, I don't use her, but purge 10 buffs from herself, and then purge 4 buffs from allies and give them 10% turn meter up. So there's a weird thing where if only one ally has debuffs, then she won't do either. But if all allies have debuffs, then she purges quite a few of them.
If no allies have debuffs, then she's gonna hit you again. So I thought her kit worked beautifully. It was amazing. Still is amazing. It's just that she's been power crept. So if she had like, I don't think they have to change anything in her kit. All they would have to do is just give her a power boost, and she would be right back to being even more so in-game viable, like a very good in-game tune. So moving right along to number 2. He has skyrocketed, and I don't even know if I should put him number 2 or number 1. Ooh, you know what? You know what? Okay, now this one I'm saying is not based on utility. This part is based on fun. I'm just honestly, this is the weirdest list ever. I've just made a top 5 list of leads that I just want to talk about. Like this is so strange. Like there's not a they're good, and I recommend getting them, but then don't get them, but they're fun, and then this and then that. It's just top 5 leads that I guess I like to play with. Like the 3 that I just named previously, I wish there was some kind of way that they could be used more often. Hopefully in PvE content. Hopefully you get Wonder Woman POT, a power boost, but they're not really being used in PvP right now. They're not. They're really not. The last 2 are being used in PvP heavily, and so and I'm trying to decide, should I put number 2 as the one? Should I make number 1 the one I have more fun with, or should I make number 1 the one that's more useful? That's who I think is the best lead in the game. Before we get to that, please hit the like, please hit subscribe, and even if you don't hit like, hit subscribe and hit dislike. That's fine. Do I go for fun or do I... Well, so far this list isn't of the best leads. It's the leads that I like, the leads that I find to be more fun. And they have some utility, but they really don't. It's just a list of leads that I enjoy. Yeah, this is a list more for favorites than it is for use. And the top 2 are the top 2 because they are useful for everyone. They're way more useful for everyone, but they're also on the list because they're my favorites. I do like them. And in fact, okay, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So the number 2 on the list, I just talked myself through the whole thing. Number 2 on the list, as you see me go through the filter, is probably pretty obvious who he is, and that is Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter is absolutely incredible. Everyone starts off with awareness. Let's just go through that. Special damage is A3 hits like, you know what. He gives himself 3 awareness on his A2 and 31% turn meter. Actually, maybe I should 35% if you bring that out. Yeah, 100% chance. I have it at 95%. For each ally to gain 20% turn meter up and awareness at the start of battle. I don't have a problem with that. Grant 1 awareness to all allies when an ally dies. That's great. That's fun. You started off helping the survivability of your team out the gate from the first turn. And then on top of it, the plus side is like if somebody's using him incorrectly with Azrael or Black Flash, then it gives you a chance to use your Black Flash to reduce all their turn meters, not set off Azrael. Then you can go ahead and pop your Kilowog in there, or Dr. Zabaro. And you guys will understand why I'm rolling my eyes when you see Riddle Me This coming out this Friday, because I had this whole thing about where I said Red Robin was overrated. Not that he isn't good, but he's a little bit overrated to me. Anyway, but if you have your Arcus and your Red Robin to like take out Azrael or whatever, then you know that kind of helps you. Him at lead giving those awareness helps you to not provoke Azrael into going off. So no, he's one of my favorites. I like him. And then on his A2, he also gives debuff immunity to all allies. His kit works really well. I think he is the best lead in the game from as objective as these things can be, because this is all subjective, but as objective as this can be, on my list of 5, he is the best, the most useful, has the most utility. So that's how I'll put it. On this list, I understand that he is the better of the leads. However, the lead that I have more fun with, he skyrocketed to the top of this list very quickly. And you can probably already tell as well as I put in the filter. Darkseid. I have so much fun with Darkseid. Darkseid, and the thing that makes me have the most fun with him is the team lead at the end of each teammate turn, 75% chance to call assist from teammate to a random enemy if Darkseid has 5 or more buffs. That he always has 5 or more buffs. If you use this A1, he's gonna smack twice. Let's go ahead and go to the A1, which you guys should know he just came out. You probably have him. If you don't, or you seen this video much later, I'll just go through it a little bit more. But special damage to a single enemy and gain 4 int ups. Attack twice to the same enemy if Darkseid has 4 or more int ups and apply stun. So you lead off with your A1. He's gonna have 8 int ups by the time it gets to everyone else's turn. 75% for calling assist on everyone's turn when they go. Like it's awesome. His A2, actually I took the cannot miss, and I think after this PvP event coming up in like 3 weeks at the end of the month, I'll be able to take him L4, and then I'll take his legendary point for his A3. But I had to take the can't miss because he is a mystic, and if you toss out an AoE and you're going against a Harley Quinn, the Harley Quinn retaliates and does a good amount of damage on him. So I did take the cannot miss and apply 20% shield to all allies. The next thing I'll do is for his A3, where it is apply 25% turn meter down on targets. That was really hard for me not to take because I love turn meter manipulation. So, and then passive ability, 95% chance to gain 4 int ups every time an enemy is buffed. And then also gain 2 stamina ups and 10% turn meter is the legendary point. Like, he's incredible. He's built very well. His kit just works great. I would love to have him L5. I'm not going to be able to do that, but I would love to have him L5. I think he quickly became one of the top 3. Let me think about this before I say it. Top 5 best. Like, on this list, if I had to say who are the better ones, Martian Manhunter is better than Darkseid in terms of utility in the game. Darkseid, I think, would be second best on my list. And actually, just in the order that it goes, now that I'm looking at it, is that's how they would go in terms of like usefulness. But if I'm giving you top 5 like best in the game, then it's going to be Martian Manhunter, Cheetah, because she's farmable and she's kind of a counter to Martian Manhunter. Then you have your Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and I think I would slot Darkseid right in there at number 4. And then for 5, you have either Lex, SS, or Enchantress, depending on if you want how you want your survivability to go. Do you want to try to use damage immunity, or do you want to try to use overheal? So yeah, that is my list. Number 1 on my favorites, my favorite leads, my top 5 favorite leads in DC Legends is Darkseid. Who are your favorites? Am I crazy? Are any of these just outright garbage? But then again, I mean, what can I say? It's favorites, not best. Favorites. I just gave you the best. I just gave it to you 30 seconds ago. Maybe I should make a video on that. But these are my favorites. Who's your favorite lead in the game? Please comment below. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.